So for class, we have to put dot first. But here, if I want to write that ID, what I'm going to do is put hash and give it that name, Zeus. Okay. Then open my bracket. I can say I want Zeus to have a background color of green. And once I use green as a background color, automatically this will have a background color of green. You get? And I can't use this ID any other place. You get? That is how ID works. You can't use ID any other place. I don't know if you get my point.
Yes. So you can't have ID post as a zeros in any other team.
No,
Or you can have zeros one.
no. It's the ID that makes it unique. But I can have Zeus one exactly. It's the ID that makes the whole thing unique. You get? I can't do any other thing. I can also say that I want this the ID in this H1 tag to be ID equal to Zeus underscore name. When I go over to my CSS, if I want to style it, I can come and say hash Zeus underscore name. Then give it a kind of since it's a text, actually, since it's a heading tag, you get since it's a header, I can come here and give it a maybe any name I like. You get maybe it's any font family or any style I like. I can say I want the font style to be or font family. Let's give it font family of sans serif. And if I should refresh this, Zeus will change. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I should start using it any other place, it wouldn't really make sense. ID is only used at one place. So the goal of using ID is to use something unique. You get, but when it's used in multiple places, you have to use class name. You have to use class to do any of all of those things. You get my point, ba?
Apart from this, yeah. Apart from this, okay. So this what we know. I asked for the difference between the thing. So the div is a container that contains the class and the ID that is used to give uniqueness to a group of codes.
The
Right?
div is a container that we hold.
That is used to the class or an ID that is being assigned to a group of codes to enable it at their own specific uniqueness. But leave the long English. Just leave the
No.
English. Eh?
Now,
Like we are using the to package the class and the IDs. But
we are using the
like
div. We are
the
using the
ID,
div. Okay, let me say it this way. Div is like a box.
I think this number just maybe lost audio.
The div is like a box. I'm going to use this sketch over here. Let me use this sketch
Mm-hmm.
whiteboard or something. drag my screen over here. You can see this whiteboard, ba?
Yes, I can.
So I'm going to give you a sketch and you see what I mean. If assume this is a desktop. Now, since is a desktop, if I should come here and sketch out, let me increase the. If I should come here and sketch out a layout here, now since this is a layout, we can say this layout should be our div. It's not like a container that we sketch out from the screen. Or remember initially some days ago I was saying something about this whole HTML stuff. It's like your ability to see things in boxes. Uh, that everything that you're building on a website or you're writing as a code is a box already. So you have to think with that box mentality, see it as that building block mentality. So each of these box is like a div. Now in those boxes now, you now have other elements. So this outside box I drew here now is a div. Now inside this div I can have an element. I can say this should be an image tag inside it. You get, and I can say this should be a normal link tag. Then another thing here, I can say this should be another link tag. Okay. Then another link tag. Now the reason for this div is that this div now has now encapsulated this whole thing. Okay. This div has encapsulated this whole thing, and it's not like it's carrying everything. So if I want to do any design inside this, like I want to give this a background color, all of these things about, I just have to style that div. That div is like a container where we put in other elements too. You get, so see div as a container whereby we can put other HTML elements inside.
Okay.
You get.
So when you're now trying to design this div now, for instance, can you design a div that does not have a class in it? And
Yes.
just call it div and design it, right?
Yes. We can actually design a class.
So, but once the div is like 3 or more, as 2 or more, you now have to start assigning it classes if you don't want all of them to have the same design.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you.
All right. So see div as a container, and you can actually have a container inside a container. You might have seen that in real life, whereby you can have a carton, then inside that carton we have other cartons inside it. So we can have another div inside another div. You get. I can have this as a container, maybe inside it now, and I have two containers. And I have two containers. one containing this menu here, another one containing this image here. But the two of them are inside one div. So it's up to you. This is where you get creative with your divs. Your ability to see things in boxes with this div. So seeing the div as a kind of something that will help you now build as your building block. You get. So that is all I have to say about divs. And that is it to say about IDs. I don't know if there's any other thing confusing on this before we move into another thing. Because for now we'll be working very, very well with IDs. So is there any question? I can't really hear you. Wait, Christopher, are you saying
His
anything?
audio has started again. His audio has started again. Because he's saying something, he's showing he's saying something.
Yeah, but I can't hear
The
it.
audio is bad.
I'm having a terrible one here today.
Okay, you want to ask me
I don't know if
something?
you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
No, I'm not asking anything. I'm just like I got the deep explanation. At least the ones I heard, because I already captured what the idea is like anyway. The audio was just horrible.
Okay.
But I understood the concept of the div as the container, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Okay. Then there is something I'm going to do.
So you can continue.
Now inside here, I can create another, or I will create another div. Now in this div, there is this HTML element whereby the name is called iframe. Now what does iframe do? Iframe is like you are inside a website and you can be able to access another website inside that's your same website. So if I should use this div, I can use that tag, an iframe tag. And once I set this iframe tag, I can give it a source, SRC. You get, and say I want the SRC source to be which website should I use? You guys should give me a suggestion.
These are normal Google now. Except you have any.
So HTTPS. www. So google.com. I can do something else to it. Give it a, since it's a frame, I can give it a height and width. So I can say I want the height to be uh 300 pixels. and the width to also be 300 pixels. If I come and refresh, you see another screen will come up here. It might be looking that it has not loaded. That's why it's giving me this. But let me refresh the page. Well, it's not loading, so I have to find another link. For some reason, these links are not working. It's better for time's sake. I'm going to use our our normal HTML
Which
code.
is HTTP dot slash www. Or you
See,
can just copy it now from the
is it
site itself.
HTTP?
It's supposed to work.
It's supposed to work. Well,
And then copy it from, like if you open Twitter now, copy it from there and paste.
all right.
Like that.
So while we are loading, waiting for it to load, the concept of what I'm
This
trying
is
to
too fine.
uh
It's too large.
yeah, it's too large.
Too large to fit in there.
I use Word.com as well.
Yours is working, but
Did you open this page in my own just by the side?
well, Opera Mini wants to disappoint me tonight. In the end, I'm going to use a normal HTML that we worked on. So HTML underscore. What are those ones that we worked on? We worked on lists, paragraphs, quotation, table. Let me use this one. So if I should reload it, you will see that our page that we worked on that time. How I put an Android, give it a H1 tag, then the text with a horizontal row.
Yeah.
You remember this, bar?
Yep. The one that the time you talked about Fabicon.
Exactly. Was it on this class that I talked about Favicon?
Yeah. You try using this logo to do icon on top of the page.
And it was too
Say the
big.
way we see logo on Twitter.
Okay. So then you can also give it a name or give it a title, like as we've been doing in that previous class. That title attribute, you can just say an iframe. Or just give it the title name, and whenever you move your mouse over it, it should give you uh, a name. So you can add some style into this. You get, because if you look closely, this iframe already has a border around it. You get, so it already has a border around it. So you can actually like remove those, or let's say remove that border around it, still by using uh, that same CSS property.
But so what now will belong.
Yes, by setting borders, no, exactly. So I can actually come and set border as none. So a border. Remember, we are doing inline CSS.
Come what? Continue.
If I come here and use style, um, on. You saw what happened now.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can actually like play around with those, or let's say play around with those CSS tools around. You get, play around with them, then just see what they can do. You can actually give it the same border of 2 pixels, solid red. It will change. You get.
Yeah.
So it's still up to you too. It's still up to you. Now, there is a lot we are going to be doing from now on. We are almost rounding up to the main core basic HTML stuffs, whereby after that we'll now move into CSS. You get. So we are moving into the core basic HTML stuffs. No, we are doing CSS. You get. We're actually doing CSS, but not like full blown CSS. Yeah. But you have actually like touched into CSS while still doing HTML. You get. We have touched into CSS, touched into attributes, and also we actually like touch into I'll just do a little touch on JavaScript, just a touch on it. Remember, we are still following this outline here. Yeah, so I'm gonna create a new HTML file. HTML. I can call it HTML.js. That is JavaScript.html. And give it a CSS file too. HTML this dot HTML. Oh, the CSS. Yet. Well, before I start going to external JavaScript, I will have to touch JavaScript a little bit. You know, when you want to write JavaScript, the same way we have elements.
Wait. My brain just.
What did your brain do?
I thought you just mentioned your brain. Why are we talking about JavaScript?
I said a touch of it.
Oh,
A touch of it. Remember, we are following this outline here, so I want to skip it, but something wants me to just talk a little bit about it because of what we are going to do in the future. You get? So I just want to talk about the JavaScript tag, not really, nothing really more than that. The JavaScript tag and other things that are necessary around it. Christopher, you're following, ba? Is it still online? Because I can't. No, I don't actually view the screen of that place of my Google Meet. Okay. Now, remember when I said, yeah, we're all here waiting for you. Remember I said something about JavaScript or using. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Remember when I said
something new. This one I saw your screen clear.
yeah, we're doing something.
Seeing that I was barely hearing. Seeing that I'm barely hearing.
Well, I want to go touch a little bit on JavaScript. Okay. Now, JavaScript is like what we are going to be using to make our website very, very responsive. You get. So, you know, as usual, we've been talking about HTML and been doing a little bit of CSS. So even if I start CSS right now, it won't be new to you because you have actually like been going into it for some time now. When you are doing your external CSS and the internal CSS, so I've been combining HTML and CSS together, so we can be able to achieve something with it. So I'm just gonna do something little brief on JavaScript. It's not going to be that much. It's something that you just need to learn with HTML before we now start going advanced after the HTML and CSS classes. So it will not actually be like a new thing for you. So there are a lot of things that you can do with JavaScript. Like I said, JavaScript, you have to use your JavaScript will most of the time be interacting with your class and your ID. That is actually one of the reasons that you put class and ID to also help your JavaScript code interact with it. So I can come here and say, after creating my demo, this thing, I can come here. There is a JavaScript method of getting elements or manipulating elements, HTML elements. You get. JavaScript has its way of manipulating HTML elements and making it do what it wants to do. You get? So sometimes whenever you visit some websites and they say click this and this will happen, it's actually JavaScript that does that thing, because whenever you click on on that thing, a JavaScript code is being triggered that will run and get that stuff done. And let's do something simple here. Say for example, I have a this thing. I have a paragraph tag. Now, this paragraph tag has an ID. Remember, I said the use of ID is we use ID to uniquely identify an element and also to help manipulate that element with interact that element with JavaScript too. So interact this ID with our code. So we'll give this ID a name. Let's give it a name of eHub. Now I'm going to create a button. Okay. So what does this button do? This button is going to be clicked. Remember that last time we just designed a normal button, but we can actually like design. They have a button tag. Get? There's actually a button tag, and I think Vivian did something like that by using a button tag before. I saw the code when she did it. Now, in this button tag, I can give it a name. So I can say the name of this button tag should be click me. Okay. Now we're going to do something. So this is a button element, a button element tag. We're going to add some attributes to it. We will give it an attribute called a type. So what type of button is this? So I want it to be a normal button. You get? There are actually different types of button. If I move this, you will see different types here. We have normal button, we have a menu button, we have a reset button, we have a submit button. Or we'll call this normal button. Then after that, give it another attribute. Now this attribute is where we are going to put in a little JavaScript into it. Okay, so there is a way JavaScript interacts with HTML. So we can use this attribute here called onClick. Now what does this onClick do? This onClick triggers whenever that button is being clicked on. So what will happen when we click on this button? So we use this onClick element, onClick attribute to do something like that. So what is going to be inside this onClick, this double quote that is for this onClick is what is going to happen whenever we click on this button. You guys are following, bro?
Yes, just
Hello, Lizette. I don't know. Let me be sure it's only me. Are you seen anything happening on the screen?
I don't know.
I've not run the code. That's why nothing is happening.
But like all these things you're saying, I'm not seeing anything happening on your screen at all. Like I'm hearing you now, but the bottom stuff you've been talking about, I'm not seeing anything running on your code or something.
But you are seeing my code, bro.
Working with your system or your phone.
Wait, I want to be sure you are seeing my code, right?
I'm doing nothing with my code.
No, I'm asking which one you're logged in.
Maybe I'm not doing with my phone. But I notice like my network is more manageable when I'm actually logging with my phone compared to when I'm using my laptop.
I'm asking, have you? Nothing is actually running here. I just ran my code now. This is what is coming out. I've not actually done anything.
He's not even seeing
And
the code.
still not seeing anything that is coming out. I'm not seeing
He's not
anything.
seeing the code.
Your code, this thing is still plain. Still seeing only the HTML, JS, .html.
I think
Like the
it's
first thing you wrote.
It's
So, apart from that,
Okay, log out and log in.
Again, let me see. Uh,
Can you see it now?
yeah. I've seen the codes now.
I think it was just frozen at that time.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Very nice. Let's continue.
All right.
That's all.
So where did I stop?
Thanks.
Click.
Okay. So at on click, that's where we run. There is this JavaScript, what I call it, code snippet that we are going to run, and that is a method whereby JavaScript actually gets information. You get, it can actually manipulate information and data. So let me not complicate things. I'm gonna use this. There's something called document. Document dot. It might get confusing at this point, so I don't know. Even if it gets confusing, don't worry. We'll clarify it later. So get element by ID. Now, us using this get element by ID, we actually want to get this element here, or any element with an ID. We'll now give it a bracket and specify that ID name. In brackets, when I say I want that ID name to be eHub. So technically what JavaScript will do is that it will go and find, using this document.getElement by ID, it will go and look for the element that have this ID eHub. Okay? It will find that element, then change it. And how do we change that element? By using this, what I call it, using this method, something like that. I don't want to say no simple. Let me just make it simple for now. If I will start going to main JavaScript. So by using this thing called inner HTML, let me call it thing. So using this thing called inner HTML, inner HTML. So it will find this eHub. When I say okay, dot inner HTML, what next? After this dot inner HTML, what will you replace it with? This is where we do the equal to. And there is something called or an inbuilt function in JavaScript that is called date function. Get so it's actually like gets, don't worry, even if it looks confusing, it will get cleared as we progress. It might look confusing at this point. I remember the first time I reached a starting stage like this, and I was like, I don't understand this thing. I don't understand it. But don't worry, it might look confusing at this point, but you will still get along with it later.
It is not looking, it is confusing.
Well, you call the function. I'm just saying this. If I'm saying function, just be observing it until when we enter JavaScript. Go. You now see when I'm mentioning function and now breaking it down well, you understand what function actually means. So you call the function. You get. So this is what is going to happen. So anytime we click on this, click me, this date function will run. So let's do something like that. We'll find this, we'll reload our page and click on click me. And when we click on click me, the date function will appear. You get. Yeah.
The problem is not just put this, put that. How do you remember it?
Exactly. That is where practice comes in. Nobody actually like. That's where practice comes in. Because there are a lot of syntaxes that you actually come across. There are a lot of codes that you like. How I've been able to remember certain things. It's not necessarily because I cram them, but I do them consistently. You get. So the more you just keep on doing them consistently, the more you remember them. Give me a sec.
Wahala be like JavaScript or
That part is the serious part.
No.
Yes. Just, okay.
Well,
There's something else I also noticed now that he's writing this code. You know one dangerous thing about coding. One thing that even big coders are still having difficulty is with when do you punctuate? Like if you notice on this is code now, that get element of ID. I didn't even know that evil was
yes.
and I was trying to run mine and it was not even responding. And I had to start reading it word by word. As I saw this punctuation, how am I supposed to know?
it's practice. Practice.
Yeah. According to him, I did practice.
You practice it a lot.
Like class teachers.
No, that is how it's supposed to be. It's almost like unavoidable. You can't run away from it. You get. You always and you must always do it. So let me proceed. Now, if you notice now, there is actually a way. There's actually a way that you can run. Let's say you can run your JavaScript code, or you can, instead of putting this your JavaScript code inside this place here, you can actually put it inside a JavaScript tag. You know, when we are doing CSS, especially internal CSS, normally we go to the head and put style, but normally we go to the head and put style and start styling our style level. Abi, maybe I can come here and say ID, which is ehub, give it a curly brace and say I want my ID to be background color of black. Let me not give black, red, and a font family or font size. Let me give it a font size of 20. Font family of sans serif. I should come here and refresh, and I click this. This is what you are going to see. I've styled this already, but if I don't want to put this inline JavaScript in quotes, I will have to come over to this place, the bottom. It's always advisable to put your JavaScript at the bottom of your code. Even if you are writing your whole HTML code, no matter how many words, how many lines of code that thing is, make sure your JavaScript is at the lowest, because it's always advisable to do it so that it will run it. You know how your code is actually run from top to bottom. You get. So if you put your JavaScript at the top and it has issues loading, then the remaining of your web page will not load. You get. But if you put your JavaScript at the bottom, you will make sure your HTML pages will load before trying to load a JavaScript that will now make it more interactive. You get.
Yeah.
So
It's linked to the script.
exactly. Now let me let me call this out. I'll delete this. Say for example, I want to, will I say, change what is going to run here. No, normally, this thing, there is nothing inside. But I can create a JavaScript code that
Yeah.
will replace what, or will I say that we put in information inside this tag. Okay, so I can say documents dot. Now we'll have to get the element that we want to get the element by ID. We want to get that element by the ID, which is this ID. Yeah, to get element by ID, and give it the ID name. Now I want the ID name to be ehub. Then what do I want to change it to? I'll say the inner HTML. I want it to change into I am an amazing web developer. And close it with this semicolon. Notice that this I am an amazing web developer is not actually, it's not here. No, normally if I put H1 tag and I put that I am an amazing web developer, it's going to run and display. But there is no HTML element or tag showing that I need to do something like that. You get, this is an empty paragraph tag. But is this JavaScript now? When we run this code, this JavaScript will run, trace which one that has ehub as an ID name by using this get element by ID what I say function. Then replace, use this inner HTML method. Okay, might look confusing, don't worry. Then replace it with this text inside here. So if I should come here and refresh this, what you are going to see is I am an amazing web developer running or rendering. But on a norm, it's not supposed to happen. You get? So, are you guys getting me?
Yeah, I get to know.
Okay.
This is the beginning of the channel.
This is just like a warm up. This is like a warm up.
Okay. Without you understanding, this is the one
It's a warm up, and it's not going to be funny. There are so many things that you actually have to learn. But the point of I'm going to stop here in JavaScript, and I'll actually like maybe do. I won't really go that much into this for now. I'm just the point of what I want to say now is that to write your JavaScript code, you must have or you must write it inside the script tag here. Okay. Make sure your JavaScript is inside the script tag, and that's all I have to say. Maybe I will even stop the class here. So this JavaScript where I don't use no go confuse any person. I don't know. Ask your questions.
No, but I'm just answering my question. What I'm saying is, I'm suggesting suggestion I want to make.
Yeah.
That okay, tomorrow is Wednesday. If we're starting our next class, meanwhile, I will need the video of today's class tomorrow.
It's already on
We're
YouTube.
starting our next class. Let us start like this JavaScript part. Let us start this like as if we didn't do it today.
Okay.
I don't know if that is there, whether she's following like this. I think we should this JavaScript thing. I think we should be slower than we were when we were doing HTML and CSS. Like we should take it gradually.
Okay.
Even a lot of people, many of us start not understanding all the and all the presence and plenty English for them.
No, please.
So,
Oh, that's why I was even talking. I didn't know
now, my own opinion, I don't know what you can capture, but a lot of things are getting, I don't know, what the audio was not pretty, I want to do.
the thing is, unlike HTML, that is clear in steps. See, children, please, I would like to beg you for this favor. Let's really take it gradually, like serious gradually.
For the
Because
JavaScript.
as it is now, yes,
And
because it's
JavaScript.
JavaScript. You know the way we had the basics of the HTML. We started from paragraph, heading, H1 and H2.
Let's present
Attributes, elements, the image, this, that. Let us also take that part because if you jump like this, telling me to go and get inner elements, I'm not going to image get. Again, anybody that is in here in their house, they should come out. Let us focus on this thing. So I know what I'm getting. Because like this, if you ask me, what is this inner element that we want to get? I will tell you maybe something hidden behind the camera. I don't know.
Well, okay. let me.
Okay, let's just stick to that is very important.
Just last time. There is time of 3 months now. But I beg you. Because we did it for
Like, like 30 space. Like 30 space.
It will not be 30 Scottish. If it is Scottish, it can become so boring. But okay, let's take 30. Let it not say slug. I think slug is the worst. 30,
Okay.
30 space, but just 30 that is very hungry, trying to do something. So
No,
it's too big.
don't worry. I'm not going to too much into it. So
You know what off me? He said, let us do CSS. The next thing I heard is JavaScript. I said, wait, what are you doing?
I wanted to like touch something small.
He said, let us do
Like
the
every second of
He
this.
said he wants to do the first. And the next thing I'm hearing is getting 9 elements. The thing is writing wrong.
No, this is like a warm up to JavaScript.
No,
I'm ready for this match. See what it starts.
warm up is like when I do exercise, warm up is stretch your left hand, stretch your right hand. You don't come to warm up and tell me, oh yeah,
Hey, I'm preparing.
Jesus. Or you come to my tell
I'm
me,
preparing to start.
now. You're already, if not safe, I already know what I'm trying to get myself. I will say this thing just demoralize me entirely. Like, I really just went off.
Okay, so
The thing my friend keeps telling me is, how will you remember this? How will you remember this? Where do you want to start from? The only thing you're telling me is practice, practice, practice.
no, that is actually what your brain will tell you initially. Oh.
Okay, we'll get
Like
to
initially when you try something for the first time, it will just start telling you, how will you remember it? How will you remember it? Well, but the thing you just have to understand is that you actually remember it when you do it more often. You get like when you start doing something more often, you will see definitely. Uh, I want
I'm
us.
already seeing it though. I am seeing it.
So what I will just have to do is let me end it with this one here. Let me end this class with this one here. You get then
Are we doing CSS?
yeah we are still
or
doing
JavaScript?
we'll do CSS next definitely. That is how it actually works. The HTML and CSS work hand in hand very well. You get then then we'll start doing other things like
What's still remaining for us in the CSS? Is it still big?
I would say not really too big because that is why you have to we have not done like CSS Flexbox. Yeah, that is actually the one I want us to do. CSS Flexbox that, and also we've not even done HTML forms like creating forms because when you know how to create forms, you can be able to create a sign up page. You get so
So how did we jump from these roles and so with JavaScript? You have really
no.
summarized me this like
I told you there was a reason. You will see the reason. Let's just be going. You will see the reason. You get like each now. As I've done, if I go into CSS now, you will actually understand it better because you have been doing some small CSS inside inline CSS and all of those things. You get that is how the same way it is. Maybe you might touch a little bit on JavaScript. Then when you now start getting into JavaScript fully, you now start understanding the reasons why by some things were already done. and you start understanding all those get inner HTML and get this and get that.
Okay, wait, though. Yeah, so you were not going to CSS.
Yes, I remember. Remember I said. Remember I said that we are going to also create another sign up page, or another nav bar using that is when I go into this CSS Flexbox. You get, but hopefully our next class, that is today is Tuesday. On Thursday, I'll go into these forms. You get, I'll go into forms and then maybe a little bit on videos. You get, because there is actually a way you can actually embed videos inside HTML and also audios. You get, so we go into forms and those videos parts. Then after that, we'll now head into CSS gone. When I mean CSS gone, we'll head into CSS gone. Okay? So hopefully we get to like almost finish everything. The major things in HTML, we'll finish it this week. That is on Thursday and on Friday. You get. Then Saturday I celebrate my birthday. Then chill out on Saturday.
Oh, Saturday is your birthday.
Yeah, and then on Sunday chill out too. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Oh.
So chill out this weekend. Then we thank God it's Saturday.
You like, okay, preparing though.
Is it for the birthday something?
When they're preparing, it's not only good that we chop for.
No, I don't know. I think it might even be inside school because I think I will have a meeting there inside school. So I'll just like maybe carry some cooks and all that. Maybe not necessarily cook, maybe carton of malt and all that to school. Or it may even be on Sunday because that time every person might be active. You get the point. So we have two major things to finish up these remaining days: forms and media, forms and videos, and all of those things. Adding all those things inside your HTML code. Then next week we'll be going into CSS, a lot of CSS codes. You get? We'll be going into CSS. That is just it. All right. This is the part I'll be saying good night to you guys, so I can stop live streaming this.
Good night again. When you don't advertise me, finish.
This is the one I say good night. Better start warming up for the whole this thing.
Better sleep for.
Better start warming up for the.
Leave trauma for now. Don't sleep.
You.
I should raise trauma. Instead, I trauma. It will be saying, I will just need meeting. Camp.
A career, it's you won't leave meeting, but you just shout.
You I will just say press red button. Camp. Leave. The next day I'll come back.
Come back the next day.
Doesn't work. Leave.
There's always the next day. That's the big thing about me. If you leave, you come back again the next day.
If it is now too much today, I will just raise my flag up. Yes, sir.
No.
It's
You don't reach like that, yeah. Like you do,
Because I've been silent
You go do you go do definitely.
Share that one that said, you're the one that said some of your colleagues were peppering you in school then.
They were
So,
doing you.
so this is what they went through. That's why they're peppering
Exactly. This is what they went through before they start to pepper anybody.
you. That's why they were peppering you.
You were there. Let's be going. Good, of course.
Definitely.
Yes, don't be serious.
All right.
Thank you very much for tonight.
Alright, good night, guys.
We have break tomorrow. Next tomorrow we continue.
All right.
Yes.
Just if you guys have any question, just inbox me on WhatsApp and I'll reply to them like ASAP.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
The question will be on Thursday, please.
If you have any question, just inbox me. I'm always online. I always I'm always online, so you can always inbox me. There is no,
Go do online till Thursday. That's when I will box.
Alright.
Catch
See
you
you
for
guys.
good night.
Sleep well, bye bye.
Yeah.